Connecting the community through gospel. The new 107.9 FM, W300EB, Macon, and WDDO 980 AM, Perry, Macon.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
Welcome to Backpage. Backpage, a new program that speaks to community-felt issues and topics, discussions, and solutions through both subjective Christian and spiritual interventions. Backpage is an open forum. And now, Backpage. Backpage with Reverend Gregory Jackson.
Well, good evening and welcome to Wednesday. I guess I was going to say the city, but it's Wednesday in middle Georgia again. So we want to welcome you to Backpage. I'm repeating myself tonight. But welcome to Backpage. We're here again on 107.9 FM, 980 AM, WDDO, the glory of Middle Georgia. And we welcome you to our show. We're glad to have you here with us, and we appreciate you joining in. We ask you to look at the bottom of your page if you're joining on Facebook Live and hit the share button. Make sure you follow first and hit share, so that you can join in with us, so you can be here with us and participate. As promised, and continuing with our series, let me back up for a minute. Again, we're on 107.9 FM, 980 AM. We're also streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, LinkedIn, on the Glory app that you can get from the Apple App Store or Google Play Store, or you can just join us live on www.wddo.live. Let me make a quick adjustment here. Hang on 1 second.
Hey. Good evening, everyone. I hope everybody's having a good day.
Got my link blocked here. Let's see. We got a little block going on. Let's see. Just a little bit more to the. There you go. Now we got you in. Now we can see. And I also want to welcome. I missed my cue trying to fix this thing. As promised with our health series, it's okay to see about yourself. As before, we've been away a little bit because of life situations, because of death, as well as just some other business matters we had to take care of. So we're back again. And it's okay to see about yourself. We were talking before. We had a special guest with us, Dr. Deepti Bhasin, Dr. B, as we affectionately call her, as her patients affectionately call her. She's been here with us just talking over some general health issues. We won't say, we don't like to focus on mental health. We like to say total health and wellness. So we're focusing on some of those issues. And she's back with us. We love having her in studio with us as well, share her wisdom, her knowledge, and just her easy spirit of who she is and what she does for others. So without further ado, first I yield to Dr. B.
Hello everyone. Hope everybody's been having a good day. So how was your day, Gregory?
It was interesting. It's been interesting with the change of the weather, and I don't do good with pollen. Pollen beats me up, especially allergies, the pollen. Yes. It gets me real well. So other than that, things have been going good. A few other issues, a few personal issues and stuff going on. But life is good. No complaints about that at all. So it's a good day. So to our listeners, we want you to call in and share with Dr. B. Feel free to ask questions. Tonight, we're going to talk about, we're going to revisit, since we've been away for a while, we're going to revisit, I'm going to bring Jeff in too. We're going to revisit depression. Depression, and I think we're going to talk about depression during this pandemic time as well. So we're going to do that.
Such an important topic, and you and I have talked about it. How many people we know have struggled and
really are. And it seems like the numbers, I haven't been able to look at stats, but it seems like the numbers may be going up.
They are. But both by the children as well as adult, both population. They have been, and it's probably some of it is aftermath of the pandemic.
Well, thank goodness it appears that it's ebbing away.
Right,
Thank goodness for that.
right.
I
I
hope
think
it
we're on
continues.
yes.
Hope that trend continues. And also tonight, I asked one of my dear friends and brothers from another mother to join us. Jeffrey Thomas out of Maryland, the DMV, I guess as we say it's called. Reverend Jeffrey Thomas. He's quite a guy, quite a educated, learned guy. Jeffrey, this is Dr. B. Don't say Dr. B, just Dr. B.
Hey,
And
Dr. B, how are you this evening?
I am good. How are you?
Can't complain.
Good to hear. Yes, life is good.
Life is good, definitely.
She is one of the local experts in total health. And I'm just going to say it, in mental health and total health. She's actually a practicing psychiatrist with Macon Psychiatry. You can reach her, and we'll share more about this later on too for listeners. You can reach her at 402 Osegan Boulevard, suite number 400 in Warner Robins, Georgia. Her number, and I'll give it out again later on, is 478-333-3058. As well as you can reach her at 3312 Northside Drive, Building A, Suite 100 in Macon, Georgia. And that number too is 733-2690. You can reach her at any one of those numbers. We hope that you listen in and I don't know what AJ's crawling on the floor for, but hope you can listen in with us and just feel free to call and ask her questions. If you feel to talk to her. It's about making things great. That's our whole goal, is to make things great. So that's our goal. We're trying to keep things going while AJ plays around. Let me do this. Where did I put it at? I just want to share something with the listeners. Just a few words of a song. I meant to bring my connection, so I don't have it. I don't identify people or who on the show, but I just want to share some music remotely with you. So let's see if I left it pulled up, and I hope I don't have it too loud, but just to share. I probably kicked it with my big feet.
No, it just died. It was on and then it died.
AJ did it. So just in sharing this, I just want to share a few lines of this song with the listeners as help us go into. We're talking about depression and struggling. So just a few lines of this song, and then I promise I'll turn it off, and then we'll get back into our discussion.
Yes.
One day I'll have a connection. It's just a little something for you, give you a little calming as we go into the show, and something to reflect on too while we're talking about depression and talking about the pandemic. So just going to share this a little bit more, and then we'll go ahead and start our discussion.
I'm back.
There you go. You're back. It's good to have you back.
Yes, it is.
I don't know why I have the clock figure sitting up in front of my face with a countdown on it. AJ, why do I have the clock in front of my face? So that's just a little something to tickle your earbuds right quick, or earbuds, your auditory canal, hammer, your amber, your stapes. Why do I got that time sitting right there? This is blocking my face. I want everybody to see me.
We see you. That's what you look like, huh?
Okay. I just want my numbers. I don't want numbers being blocking me. I want
It's even just to send you live. That's how long you don't want.
See. Okay. So that was just a little something, just a little thought of the song "Amazing Grace" and what it values and what it holds as we reflect on where we are and where we're headed, or where we're possibly headed as we have an ebbing in the pandemic. But yet, despite us having an ebbing in the pandemic, we still are dealing with depression on major levels for our adolescents, our children, as well as our adults. And it's very obvious that we're struggling. We're going through this storm time with that and within. So let's get into the discussion. Brother Jeff, we're talking about total health, mental health, and depression. We're going to talk about that. I know some of your experiences. You can join right in with Dr. B and myself, and we're just going to talk about this. Just making I don't want to say a caveat, but just making a statement that mental health includes our emotional and our psychological, as well as our social well-being. I think sometimes we get a little too much social well-being from all the social media that we have out there. I'm at the grocery store. I'm at the airport. I'm going to see my friend. I'm at the movie. I'm at the restaurant. I'm going to the bathroom. Too much information. So it affects how we think, how we feel, how we act, but it also helps us determine how we handle, and we're talking about depression again, how we handle stress and relate to others. Also, as Dr. B pointed out on some of our other conversations here on the air, how we make healthy choices. Mental health is important at every single stage of our life, from childhood and adolescence on through adulthood and into our geriatric, our golden years. So although the terms are used interchangeably, poor mental health and mental illness are not the same.
Absolutely not the same.
No, they're not the same. People get that confused quite a bit. A person can experience poor mental health and not be diagnosed with a mental illness.
Right, absolutely. And not all mental illness are equal. There are some mental illness that may be sporadic and they may not require lifelong treatment. And there are some that require lifelong treatments. So I think we need to be sure. And the way I like to talk about it is the brain, mind, and the situation.
Right.
The brain makes it organic, right? Like brain is an organ just like heart, lung, liver. The mind is, again, the soul.
Right.
How do we do problem solving? How do we think about certain things? And it's probably made out of what our experiences have been in the past versus what are we like and what we don't like and what we want to re-experience. Right. And then the situation is what's going on in our life right now.
Right. And that plays a big part. Brother Jeff, feel free to join in anytime. So I guess, and I think you just said it, that a person diagnosed too with a mental illness,
right,
they can experience periods. That's not that ongoing, that permanent type,
right,
I guess, where they can experience the periods of physical, mental, and social well-being at the same time when they're
absolutely happening. And not every not just because somebody's sad or depressed makes it mental illness or needs treatment, right? Not just because you're anxious that you would have generalized anxiety disorder. These conditions become more prevalent and more destructive or diagnosable when they are being destructive in your day-to-day functioning.
Right.
So I may feel sad, but I get up, do what I need to do, take care of my business, and I'm fine. But if I'm sad and I'm not getting up and going to work or taking care of my business, then that becomes a problem, and that's when you need to treat and seek professional help.
So I guess some people would ask again, at what point do I seek professional help? Well, if I'm having those and they've progressed on more or exacerbated from having more so of a once in a week or once every 2 weeks episodes or problems, that it starts becoming a everyday, continually through the day type situation.
Right.
Is that when should we seek help? When should we start?
So, you and I talked when we came in today. It's a great day. It's been raining. We are feeling a little down. But would that qualify for it to be a psychiatric illness or seek professional help? No.
No.
Right? If it's going on for at least 2 weeks, and it is interfering with your day-to-day functioning, meaning I'm a mother, I'm a doctor, I'm a friend, I'm a wife, and I can't take care of my day-to-day functioning in all my aspects, that's when I need to reach out to a professional to handle it. The other piece of it is that it may be one day, but I'm feeling suicidal. I'm having thoughts of self-harm.
Right.
That would be where I would reach out to a professional immediately.
Right. And you notice a lot too, that during these periods of time, when you make even regular doctor visits, now that's become a part of the question.
Absolutely.
Are you thinking about hurting yourself,
Right.
harming yourself, harming someone else? Do you feel safe at home? Are you having these other issues?
Both in family, internal medicine as well, geriatrics as well as in pediatrics. This is absolutely right. They're asking kids and adults and geriatric population about this question as a screening tool to know when do we intervene. Because again, in pediatrics, suicide is the number one cause for intentional death.
Right.
We've talked about it. Other cause being motor vehicle accidents or drowning, but again, number one cause for death.
Suicide. Wow. I don't know. I'm gonna throw this to Jeff right quick. In the environment you work in, tell us some of the things that you see, because in your position, I'm not going to dwell, but into your position. Being the king of the world. No, I'm just teasing. You see a lot, witness a lot, and have to deal with a lot too. Share some of that with us so Dr. B can respond to some of that. And we're just going to keep going deeper and deeper into this discussion on depression. The number here on Backpage is 478-250-1444. Again, 478-250-1444. We ask that you call in, you hear something. And all of us, just being transparent, all of us have issues at some time. All of us have problems. So we need to be able to share those, especially when they get to the point of your cup overflowing. So that's when you start reaching out, you seek professional help, and you try to get a end to what's going on. At least not an end, be able to get some kind of way to handle what's going on. So you're actually taking care of yourself.
Right.
And it's okay to take care of yourself. It's okay to see about yourself.
It is just like if you had blood pressure or diabetes, right?
Right.
So it's no different than that. And actually, physical symptoms can be the first sign of somebody struggling with stress or depression.
Okay.
It's not just your sleep and appetite, but actually body aches, pains, acidity, stomach aches, very common in depression and anxiety, what we call the physical symptoms of depression.
Right. So I guess in essence, we miss a lot of that because we think that's something else. That has nothing to do with that part of the psyche and what's going on, and we'll just push it off, or use that colloquial word, we'll just blow it off to something else. That's not what it is.
Headaches are very, very common again.
Right.
Precipitating or triggering migraines. If somebody does have a history of migraine, stress can definitely do that. So if somebody usually has migraines, say once a month, and suddenly they've been having more frequent, they absolutely need to look into what might be triggering.
Right.
Is it stress? Is it something I'm doing? So again, it's not just mental symptoms or emotional symptoms. We can definitely be related to physical symptoms also.
Right. And I guess equal in that. Come on in, Jeff. I also say, we talk about hypertension.
Right.
As being the silent killer.
Right.
I think at some point we have to incorporate depression and all those things that go with it, even these symptoms too, as being the silent killer, because stress causes effect on the mind, on the heart.
But when you're bringing about hypertension, one of the most common causes of depression depression is actually one of the most common symptoms if somebody goes through bypass surgery. 65% of the patients who would end up having some sort of depression after a bypass surgery, right? And it's not, I think we want to clarify that it's not something that they're weak or they can handle. It's a chemical imbalance. So it doesn't matter how you handle stress, you've coped with stress in the past or not. It is a chemical change that happens in your brain and your body that leads to these symptoms. So it's as real as anything else.
And I think that can tie directly back in with anxiety as well, because wouldn't anxiety cause a chemical issue in your body where people might have the adrenaline flow, the fight or flight thing?
The cortisol levels, if you do measure a cortisol level, which is one of the hormones that are released in the morning time before you wake up, it's also called a stress hormone, is going to be exponentially high. And so there are, you can test somebody's stress level by coordinating with their cortisol levels. So again, it's as real as any other medical condition.
And I know there are some challenges that can be done, some cortisol challenges to see what's really going on, how your body's handling.
And just measuring regular lab, which is a very routine lab. It's not a fancy lab. It's not any small hospital, small place. Cortisol levels can be measured. Jeff had something that he wanted to chip in.
Come on, Jeff.
Because and that siren was good for me because, you have folks who are in critical positions, especially, government personnel who will not come forward even though they're under stress or are experiencing depression, because there's this stigma of someone who is seeking psychological or psychiatric help assistance. And so how would a supervisor break that stigma to an employee or even to himself to go get that?
So Jeff, you're bringing up that it's just not even in only adults. The other day, I was seeing a 14-year-old kid who is struggling with quite severe depression. And his fear was that he would be perceived as being weak. And crazy is one thing, but weak. Like he didn't want to seem weak in front of anybody, right? And that was what he was focused with. He was so upset about being in my office and needing to talk about that because he kept telling me, I am not weak. I can handle it. I'm not weak. And this kid has been struggling. The parents brought him in, right? The stigma, again, I think one of the stigma that comes in from, and it's centuries, right? I mean, it's not recent. It's been ingrained. Men should not cry. Men shouldn't be weak. They should be able to handle. And stigma, not only men have it, but women. And as I said, as young as, kids can have it too. So we have to make it more real. It's just like, we don't say I'm diabetic and I'm going to my doctor to get my diabetes checked, right? I mean, nobody thinks twice about it. Or I'm hypertensive, or I'm having asthma, or I'm having allergies. But when it comes down to your brain health, why are we so worried about it, right? Brain is the most important organ in a body. It's controlling and managing every little thing that goes on, including your heart rate, your breathing, your GI system, your hormonal releases. It manages everything. And so can our brains not have something wrong with it? I know the day-to-day science has not reached where we can measure serotonin levels or dopamine levels or epinephrine levels, but it's coming. It's coming in the next decade. We would have where we can say, okay, like how we do blood work and get your hemoglobin A1C checked, or, let's get your thyroid level checked. We would be able to check those neurotransmitters and say, okay, yeah, see, you're feeling this way, this correlates, let's get it treated. But not having that yet, or in the past, not even having MRIs where we can see the brain function, has created this stigma in our mind. And somebody has to start working on saying it is okay.
Yeah, we do. Because
it is okay to feel as if you're not enjoying anything, and you don't have, you don't feel like doing anything, and decision making is becoming hard, and I feel sad and overwhelmed, and there are times that I want to cry, and and that is okay.
Right. And we just feel like we're because of the way society has evolved.
Right.
We feel like we're not measuring up, which actually compounds the problem, because if we feel like, it goes back to what you said too, Jeff, about the stigma. We feel like we're not measuring up.
Right.
We're not measuring up to our peers, to our colleagues, and therefore, if we're not measuring up, we're not worthy.
Right. How many times you haven't heard, right? Get up, get dressed, you'll feel better.
Right. Dust yourself off.
Right. I mean, and if somebody could and feel better, why would they not?
Yeah, and I believe.
And I would say I was gonna say, like, there's that statement in some of our communities where they say men don't cry.
Right. Right.
Even though, and so I would say, just when as a supervisor, I walk around and I see people putting on a great smile. They're smiling and they're they're showing teeth, but they're very unhappy. That you talk to them and you hear the sadness, and you tell them, hey, there's assistance that they can, that the government will provide it, but they will never go there.
Right. Right.
So,
I mean, again, the fear of being labeled. I think that is a big thing.
Right. Because this society, we thrive on not being labeled, unless it's one of those labels of major success or major accomplishment or what have you. So, and
I think it's helping that we're talking. Celebrities are coming and talking about their struggles. I think the more we talk about it and more we bring about, as if it's just, I mean, it is as normal as somebody having diabetes and blood pressure, and it's okay to seek help, I think does help. But again, absolutely, and especially in government offices, I think when you're talking about government offices, militaries, and it seems it's looked as a weakness.
Yeah, and from a military standpoint, Jeff, you can agree with this too. That military standpoint of not measuring up, it is, and it's always thought, like you said, that was the key word, is it's a weakness. You're looked at as being weak. You can't measure, you can't add up. So I don't know. We talk about that. We talk about even risk factors for depression. I was reading something that said several factors here can play a role in this, and you can see some of these things in that daily work environment, that daily we used to call ADL, activity daily living, what have you. See a lot of that where we have this says I'm going to come back to them: biochemistry, genetics, personality, environmental factors. Biochemistry talks about what you were saying, certain chemicals in the brain that may contribute to symptoms of depression as well as anxiety.
The imbalance of these chemicals in the brain, yes.
And it's that imbalance that causes everything to be out of kilter, I guess, so to speak.
Right.
And then we talk about genetics, how, which I haven't heard this one, but I'm sure it can. Depression can run in families.
Oh, absolutely. And, actually, there are several studies that indicate that depression can run in different generations. Wow. One of the questions that we ask is if there a family history of depression or anxiety, because we haven't been able to identify one specific gene yet.
Right.
But absolutely, you can see certain families have a higher percentage of people who have struggled with severe depression versus others. One of the other predictor is suicide. Actually, we do ask about family history of suicide, and that's one of the risk factors for the next generation.
Wow.
If there is a family member who has committed suicide, these are the people who have higher chance of thinking about it or acting on it.
Wow.
So again, genetics does absolutely, and then if genetics play a part, then it has to be real, right?
Exactly.
I mean, you're talking about different generations, not even your immediate. It can be great grandfather.
That's true.
Alcoholism runs in families.
Comes right back down through.
Exactly. Wow. So it has to be real then.
Yes, and I think Jeff, in your environment, in the military and government avenue where you work, again, without calling out locations or nothing, at one time it was acceptable into the military and into the government areas to drink all the time. At one time there was even a thing of having you were allowed to have a drink at 2 drinks at lunchtime or whatever. And I don't know if that's changed now or not, but drinking plays a heavy part, as well as smoking, which is an addiction.
And sometimes it's self-medication, right? I mean,
Right.
you're self-medicating yourself with alcohol or other substances.
And I would say Dr. B said they're just what this. You see a lot of guys self-medicating because, like you said earlier, they didn't want to seem weak, and
Right.
I would say, even from my personal standpoint, there was a time in my life when I think everything was bad, and I tried to self-medicate to make things better, and I understood that it didn't work, and so it really took me a point of reflection to find out in my life what did work, and what worked for me was being a Christian and loving
Right.
the Lord and
Right.
letting the Lord love me.
Right.
Not putting so much of my trust in myself and what I could do, but asking God to guide me.
Right.
And so
Right.
has led me on my faith walk. So
Right. And so when you're talking about treatment or somebody who's struggling with sadness and depression to where it's affecting them their day-to-day functioning, I think spirituality has a big part in it.
I would agree.
It's a multifactorial aspect. You have to treat the brain, you have to treat the mind, and you have to treat your soul.
yeah, so
Um, you just taking a pill is not what's going to keep it. So I think we want to be very clear that because it's a multifactorial and it's such a complicated condition,
Mhm.
then taking a Prozac or Paxil would not just be the only thing that you want to do. There's
Right,
so many
right.
other things that you want to do. If somebody does need medicine, with that, along with that, there's other things that are recommended, including regular exercising
Right, right.
and maintaining healthy lifestyle and eating right. So all that, and it's not theoretical. It's not it's not just living healthy, and that's why there are chemical changes that are happening by exercising that chemically does alter your depression
Right,
and
right.
negative thought process.
Right. And that's a lot of food for thought as well, because we miss so much.
Right.
We miss so much, and I wish I'm not saying in general the world. I wish people in general would be able to, and I guess that's all part of the process, to shut down the fear,
Mhm.
shut down the I'm worried about what people are thinking about
Right.
me, and just go ahead and see what's going
Right.
on. Because sometimes when you go so far and you push so far and you get so far, it's that bridge too far. You've crossed too
Right.
far, and then that's when the real struggle comes. Are you going to get some help in time?
Right.
Will someone be able to help you in time?
And I think we have talked about something like this in the past episodes also, where if you are not mentally at the best place,
Mhm.
even your medical conditions like diabetes and blood pressure and others do suffer,
Right.
right? Today I saw a young guy who's very athletic. His heart rate runs around 50s and 60s, and it's been running in hundreds, and because of anxiety and depression.
Right. Right.
I mean, it's as simple as that, right? And he still goes to gym every day. So again, but also your decision making changes, right? If I'm very negative and I have no energy and just feel blah, then I'm not going to be able to make the right decision and choices. I may not eat the most healthy. I'm going to eat whatever I can grab, or I'm not going to take care of my physical health,
Right. Right.
or my appearance.
And I think that falls into that personality
Right.
affect and the personality effect
Right.
of what's happening with both
Right.
of us. Because we find, I think, people with low self-esteem who are usually easily overwhelmed by stress, who are generally pessimistic, appear to have more likely chances of being depressive. Now, what I've seen, and I've looked at family members, I've looked at friends, people who have worked hard all their life.
Uh-huh.
And I know at one time there's a high incidence of suicide in military and retired military,
Yes.
because for 20 years they've gone at this certain pace, this go, 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 go. And then all of a sudden they retire and they don't have an outlet. They just, for lack of a better word, and to me, this is a perfect step ladder to set up into major depression, where you've come to that point where you slowed down, and then you transition, but you don't have nothing to keep you busy, no volunteering, no nothing. You don't leave your house. You sit there and you sit in the dark. You don't leave the house. There's nothing to stimulate you, nothing to cause you to reach out toward other people. And I think in working with depression too, we need each other. We need to be able to talk and interact with each other, to fellowship with each other. And when we don't have that, it causes those things. And it's nothing worse to me. And the worst part, the hardest part, is those who are going through these stages don't recognize it.
Right, because they're not changing, they're not seeing the change in their behaviors, right? I mean, it's not like one day you wake up, and it can happen in certain situations that one day you wake up and you're depressed.
Right.
But majority of us, if it does strike us, it's gradual, right? We slowly, maybe we socialize twice a week, and now we barely are making it once a week, and it's also a struggle to even make that, right? And so people around us, our loved ones, are the ones that start noticing some of the changes. I go to every day, and suddenly I'm not even waking up till midday.
And that's the other thing, going to bed early. I call it, and it's bad for me to say this, but it's the no life syndrome, because nothing interests you no more.
Right.
You go to bed early, you stay in the bed late, you get up, you don't leave the house, you just do these mundane things over and over again, and it sinks you deeper and deeper into that depression.
Right.
And the ones that love you, the ones that are around you, your family, your friends who see this, they see the what's the word I want? The not outreach. That you see the what's the word I want? Help me out. The
you see the change.
What'd you say, Jeff?
Lethargy.
No, it's I can't think of the word I want, but the person is they're not in tune to what's going on. They don't aware that they're depressed. And when the family say, "Hey, something's not right with you," you're not your outburst. You're having outbursts. Your temperament has changed.
Irritability, a very common symptom of depression.
Right. And and they don't see that, and we can say that to them over and over again, but they don't see what we see.
Right. So when you're bringing about the outburst, I have to tell the story from today. I saw this young lady, married to a husband, and she's like, anything he says or does, it gets on my nerve. My thought process is so negative. She's been married for over 10 years, great marriage, but now she's thinking about divorcing him, because in her mind, and I had to say to her, I think your depression is being so negative that your tolerance for anything is so low, and you feel so you cannot make any major decisions until your depression is better.
Right. And if only we can find a way to get that. Now, I wish there was a spray we could spray, and it would allow those to see that. I'm not going to say a fault or defect, but to see that problem that's there.
Right.
It's there because those who are depressed cannot see it themselves.
Right.
But they can't, and that's the issue, is that, and they can't see it. And if you come to them, they're gonna get confrontational. They're going to deny it.
Very much so.
And like I said, let me go back, because I was looking up statistics, because I know a couple of years ago, one of the generals in the Army said, every military person needs to do at least, he was talking to retirees, needs to do 22 push-ups a day. And we were like, why 22 push-ups? And he said, that's how many military members commit suicide every day.
Wow.
22. That's wow.
And that's a high number.
That is very high number.
So that's, I've always gotten into my head. Every morning I wake up, I do 22 push-ups, and I do more sometimes, just to kind of make sure that I go, okay, I know what these guys are suffering to, and to keep them in our prayers.
Yeah. Wow. I did not know that number. That statistics is overwhelmingly high. Yeah.
I had to check. I had to make sure, because I was like, wow, he said 22, and I had to look, and he said, and it's down by 2, so it's 20 now per day.
Right.
So, Still
Well,
a high number.
It's 20 is still high. That's too many. So let me
Right.
do this right quick again to all our listeners. And y'all being awfully quiet tonight. We want you to call in. This is an open forum. It's about you. We want you to call in. We have Dr. B here for a reason. We have her here for a reason. You can call in and talk to her and ask questions, because this is something we all experience. It's not something new under the sun. It's not something new just or especially individualized to each person. This is something that we all, every one of us, depression touches us at some point or some stage in our life, and we just have to be able to step up and deal with it. So you're welcome to call in to 478-250-1444 and talk to Dr. B. If otherwise you have other questions too, you can email to backpage2018@windstream.net. That's BACKPAGE at Windstream, WINDSTREAM.net. Reach out to us as we're trying to reach out to you and try to bring some resolution, not some resolution, but some help to those who are in need. So let's go on. I think people don't understand either that depression, and yes, it's a mental disorder.
Well, it is mental. It's a brain disorder.
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
And we need to realize, for those who might be teetering on the fence, that it is one of the most treatable of all mental disorders. And I think
Greg, I would like to even say, like, Dr. B said earlier, there's three parts to that. There's the mental, spiritual, and there's the physical.
Exactly.
So we have to get all three working together, because as a minister, Reverend, folks come to me, and I know they're suffering from depression, but I give them scripture, but I also give them the name of our psychiatrist that attends our church.
Right.
Because scripture, I want them to understand that God can take care. God can fix anything. God really can. But I always tell people, I said, if I know God can take me out the water, but if He sends me a boat, I got to get in the boat.
Exactly.
And I sometimes tell people that there's a reason God made doctors, right? There's a reason that God made medicine.
Right.
So if it's okay for the God to provide this, then why is it not okay to seek it and utilize it for our benefit?
Right. And I think it's fair to say that he gave us doctors. He gave us to take it's an extension of His own care for us, because and I don't want to get on it, because people, I'm gonna do it anyway. even with the pandemic, all the questions about the science, about the doctors, He gave us doctors, and He gave us a mind. He left us a little bit to be human, to think and wonder. But He also gave us doctors. There were, if we read back scripturally, there were lots of doctors back in that time.
Absolutely. If you think, we as humans, I believe that we have limitations. Even as a doctor, just because I'm giving medication to somebody doesn't mean there has to be something more for it to get better too.
Right.
I'm just a medium for things to change, right?
Right.
I am very realistic and humble to say I'm not the one that's making the changes. They're making, and their supreme power is playing part in it. So absolutely.
So I guess in essence, we would say, I would just do it to encourage and say, and I say this over and over again, it's really okay to seek help, to see about yourself. When you feel, even if you feel down every day, you feel like you're not feeling yourself, you feel like you're short with those that you love, those you care about, those that you're around, and people even tell you, "Oh, what's wrong with him or her today?" Just short, just outburst, screaming for no reason. And in conversations with your family and conversations with other people, you find yourself screaming all the time. And when someone presents it to you, it's the bad part about it that we struggle with. It's never their fault. It's always someone else. It's always someone else is always the cause for it, instead of looking at really what the root cause is. It's always
day.
Right. So Gregory,
every day is a bad hair day. Well,
So what you're talking about is these conditions not only affect you as an individual, but it does also impact people around you, people
It does.
not only your family and your kids, but also people you work with. So your work family as well as your family.
It does. Yeah, even
So-
your intermediate family, and that makes living hard. And that makes, I think it goes back to that situation you were talking about, where the blame is tossed, but we have to do one of my words I love is mirrored reflections of oneself. We have to look at ourselves. We have to really be able to critically look at ourselves and say, am I actually part of this cause? Am I actually part of the reason behind this? Because if I'm having some of these issues going, these disruptive moods, these disruptive behaviors, what have you, is it always the other person or is it me? Do I need to actually settle down and think and go focus on, let me go see about getting someone.
Right. And if you are the common element in that, right? I mean, then definitely you're the common element.
Exactly.
So you really have to have that self-reflective, observing ego to look at what is my part in bringing this.
Right. And we can't always say, well, you can ask this other person. No. Look at yourself and see what's there.
And sometimes it's painful to look at ourselves, and it's not easy. But I think it is absolutely, even if you're not struggling, but looking at what part, if there is some dysfunction going on in your life, what part am I bringing in?
Right.
Go ahead.
I don't know. I would say, because again, I think back to my time when being depressed. It's hard to have the introspective. And it takes a minute for you to go, wow, that I'm home alone moment, where we're squeezing our head and screaming. And I said, and when you do have the introspective, you have to have people around you, family, friends, who are willing to say, hey, let's go to the doctor together.
Right.
And find, so that it doesn't feel like I'm weak.
Or I'm alone, because part of the depression is you feel alone. You feel like nobody understands you. You're not reaching out to loved ones. So absolutely. And that's one of the things that I like in my clinic is we do ask family members to come, because part of the depression is that you're not able to make decisions. I'm not worth, or self-worth goes down. Again, we all just regular day-to-day decisions. Is it $30 copay worth me, right? I mean, as little as this, right?
Yeah.
And so, Jeff, you're absolutely right to have loved ones. And then the other part of the depression might be that I'm not hearing the whole thing because my concentration is not as good.
That's
my
true.
Processing is slowed down. So you're not grasping all the details that's going on.
Right.
And so you need a loved one to be able to repeat and recollect what happened in the meeting.
And we have to get to a point where we can accept.
Right.
So we can accept unconditionally that person is saying this because they love you or care about you, and they want you to get that help, that even if it's just going to talk to someone for a few minutes. And then on the other hand, hearing it and accepting it, we have to be able to also understand it. Take that person with you, like you said, because but when you take them with you, understand too, that person's not there to prove a point of saying, aha, something's wrong with you, I told you so. Right. It's there to help support you and help to bring about that change that is ultimately needed in there. So it's so much to that. And, my heart goes hard out because, you talk about the youth and adolescents as well who have barely had a chance to live and then contemplating ending their lives, suicide. And usually I think by the time we get close to that, when they're close to that point, it's almost too late in a lot of cases.
Right. And I don't want people to think that, just because there's no help, you can still reach out and there's treatment. It's a very treatable condition. It is absolutely a very treatable condition.
Right. And I was going to say this, Greg, and again, a lot of the times when, especially as supervisors watching, the times where they start talking about the suicide are usually Christmas, Valentine's,
and that ties into grief periods of having lost a loved one as well during the seasons.
So you for the person looking, you're not thinking, oh, this person's going to be having a bad time at Christmas. You're looking at, oh, everybody's having a great time at Christmas, but that's high suicide time in the military.
It is. Plus, with the pandemic, we've had so many people who've lost their loved ones and family members. So in the we have to be very mindful that, again, holidays, anniversaries, important dates, birthdays, important dates, and important events. You're thinking about what it used to be versus what it is. Again, depression is actually way more prominent during holiday season. One of the things that I talk about my patients that I'm treating, especially that have just started working with me, we're very mindful of saying, remember, the birthday is coming, the anniversary is coming. You're going to feel some sadness, and it's okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong, because sadness is just like any other emotion, right? If it becomes more than sadness and it's been going for a couple more days, then you need to reach out. But because, again, when they're doing better and they start feeling a little sad, they feel they've crashed. They've gone back into depression.
Right.
It's okay to miss somebody. They've been significant. So I think educating as a physician, educating people is one of the biggest part of my job on a daily basis.
And that's what I love about you. That's what I love about you and your practice and how you deal.
Right.
And, we talk about transparency, and I've said this before, so I'm just going to go ahead and be transparent. Dr. B here, I'm actually one of her patients, and I don't have a problem saying that. I see her after having experienced some life-changing events and some PTSD along behind that, along with anxiety on a continual basis. The blessing was having her around and being with her spirit in the way she is, the way she's able to talk to you and help you with things. So if I can say that, then anyone can say that. And it's nothing wrong with going to see about yourself. If you're in here in this area, if you're in this area of Georgia right here, where Dr. B is, then why not take care of yourself? Why don't you, if you want to have seek help for yourself, and you want a non-confrontational, you want an atmosphere where you see that the doctor actually cares about you and cares about where you're going. You can't beat. I know it's like a commercial, doesn't it? But you cannot beat seeing Dr. B because of who she is and what she believes and how she does take care of her people. And it is nothing wrong with it. There's no shame in it. It's nothing wrong with making sure you are okay and you're able to go on and face every day in a positive way and live your life as it was intended to be.
No, Greg, I thought
it out there. And I guess let me be real colloquial for a minute. I'm gonna go back to the top. I ain't scared. I put it out there. So if I'm not, see about yourself, people.
And you're pretty macho looking, so there's no sense of weakness here at all.
At all.
Yeah.
At all.
And Greg, I thought you were my patient all these years, as much as we
He ditched you for me.
He ditched me for you, Dr. B.
That's that FAMU mentality. I think. I've known him forever, but going on, we're coming up close to time. We got about 8 minutes left, so it's so much. We talk about feelings caused by depression. I'm gonna run through real quick, and we've covered a lot of these already, from being sad, miserable, unhappy, irritable. If any of these are you, be sure to call in and talk to Dr. B. Sad, miserable, unhappy, irritable, overwhelmed, guilty for no reason, or frustrated, lacking in confidence, indecisive, inability to concentrate, and feeling disappointed in everything, everybody, and everything that you do, which in turn will cause you to have thoughts on depression, which can evolve from I'm a failure, it's my fault, nothing good ever happens to me, I'm worthless, there's nothing good in my life, things will never change. And here's that bad part: life is not worth living. Even to people would be better off without me. And that's a flashing red light right there.
And I'm going to add some physical symptoms: headache, stomach ache, diarrhea, constipation, GI symptoms changing, feeling very lethargic and tired, again, not sleeping well, waking up or falling asleep is difficult. So all those could be the signs of physical symptoms, but also definitely we need more common in depression.
And we just have to do better for ourselves and by ourselves, and making sure that we look out for ourselves, and we have to look out for those that we love and care about too. In a non-confrontational way, go to them and say, hey, I've noticed these changes in you, and I'm coming to you because I love you. And it's constant. It's not something that's just been sporadic here and there. It's something I'm seeing in you every day and multiple times throughout the day. So why don't we sit down and talk for a few minutes? And if you're not comfortable talking to me, let's go together and talk to someone else.
Right.
And see what we can do to help you get back on the right track. Because mental health issues, unbalanced total health issues are treatable.
Very treatable.
So we need to look at that too. So let me do we got about 6 minutes left. So let me go back to this. I love having Dr. B on here. Jeff, I love having you on here too. But Dr. B's got the thing right now. So, but again, I want to put out there. You can see her. You can reach her at 478-333-3058. 478-333-3058. Or also 478-733-2690. It doesn't matter where you are. I don't care if you're up in Rome, Georgia. It's okay to call and see someone who you will be comfortable with to help you see about improving your life and where you are. There's no reason to walk around with your head down. There's more to life than doing that. It's also better to keep your head. There was an old song years ago, keep your head to the sky.
Right.
And that's where we need to be. We need to be able to do that. Find things that we enjoy in life again, because it doesn't benefit you to walk around with your head down to the ground again. So Dr. B has become a frequent here because of what we're trying to cover. And it's because it's so important to talk about total health, mental health, and where we are with that depression and all. And we miss so much tonight. There's so much more we can go. This discussion is so broad. So we're going to continue on with this too. Again, let me give my little thing here. You have been listening to Backpage on the Glory 107.9 FM and 980 AM on WDDO, the Glory of Middle Georgia, as well as streaming us live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, LinkedIn, and as well as on the Google app and www.wddo.live. You've been here with us. We love having you here with us. Again, send us emails, even if they're off-show hour emails, to backpage@windstream.net. Backpage@windstream.net. Join in with us. The thing is, we're here for you, so make it a point to join in with us so we can help to take care of you. Also, if you choose to help be a sponsor, no matter whatever part, Cash App Backpage 2018, and help the show along. So eventually, we have some other plans. My plan and dream for this is to expand, in addition to the regular show, to expand to a 15-minute, 30-minute health session as well. So I hear the music coming on. So Dr. B, I'm gonna give you a wrap up. Then I'm gonna give Jeff a wrap up. Then I'm gonna take us out of here. All right. We got about 3 minutes.
Yes. Please seek. If you are not feeling to your par, it's time you can speak to your primary care doctor, your family members, somebody. But there is help, and it's very treatable. Thank you for having me on the show.
And we'll see you according to your schedule if you're available.
Absolutely.
However you schedule, we'll talk about that offline. Brother Jeff, what you got to say? It's like 2 minutes left, so we got to do it so I can do my wrap up.
I'm going to be quick, because I said, as a minister, and I say to pastors too, we have to make a effort to destroy the stigma behind depression and being depressed. And I said that might help some of these young people stay off that skunk, and instead of self-medicating, come talk to them.
All right. Okay, so that's wrapping it up for tonight. Jeff, I'll talk to you later on tonight. Dr. B, I'll talk to you either tonight or tomorrow.
All right.
Remotely is a good thing. So
be blessed, brother.
Love you too, my brother.
Take care.
And again, we've enjoyed having you here on Backpage.
Thank you, Jeff. It's meeting you.
We enjoyed having you here on Backpage with us. Be sure to join us again next week at 6 o'clock here on WDO The Glory. Backpage is here for you. It's here for us. It's for all of us to join together and come together, family and have a good night. We'll see you next Wednesday at 6 o'clock. We love you. And take care.
Yeah. Hallelujah. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Backpage with your host, Reverend Gregory Jackson, Associate Minister at Mount Moriah Missionary Baptist Church. Backpage is community talk that examines community issues with the intent of shining a new light to those affected, concerned, and desiring better. Join us next week at 6 p.m. for Backpage with Reverend Gregory Jackson.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
Connecting the community through gospel. The new 107.9 FM, W300EB, making